Good evening, viewers. Today we have a special guest. We have Karan Verma, who is a political analyst and a two-time national best-selling author. And he's also regular on mainstream channels like Times and Republic and other channels. So welcome to you, Karan.
Minaji, it's a pleasure to be here with you, and a hello to all your viewers.
Yeah. And we have also Jaydev joining us. So welcome, Jaydev.
Thank you.
Yeah. So today, Karan, as we discussed, the US elections is just around the corner, and the presidential campaign is heading into its final week, with polls showing a razor-thin margin between Democratic candidate Kamala Harris and Republican candidate Donald Trump. So it seems like Donald Trump has a very tiny margin. So they say 51%. And the counting of votes will begin on November 5th itself.
Correct.
But it could take days before it's known who will be the next US president. Now, Trump is targeting Georgia, aiming to rally evangelicals and conservative Christian voters, while Kamala Harris she faces opposition from Arab Americans over US support for Israel. Now, something I find rather strange, Karan, is that now the whole of Hollywood seems to be saying that they will leave USA if Trump comes to power, which is very similar to what happened when Modi was also, fighting. And a lot of the Bollywood people were also voices said that they would leave India if Modi came to power. Do you see some kind of a parallel between what's happening in the US and what happened in India when Modi came to power?
Minaji, I see a parallel on steroids because what Trump has done, he's pretty much taken on the entire system, and he's been very, very blunt about it, as brazen as it gets about it. And you rightly pointed out that it's razor thin and it's anyone's game. And also the system in US, the electoral system, that has been an absolute disaster, if I may say so. I mean, the mail-in ballots, for your viewers, I'd like to throw some light on how it works there. So right now, as we are talking, voting is already underway. In fact, 14 to 15%, if I am able to put the number correctly till yesterday, 14 to 15% have already voted. So you have two options there. One is voting in person. The other is the absentee ballot or the mail-in ballot, as they call it. Now, that thing really took off during the COVID last time around in 2020. So last time, close to 46% of the votes were through mail-in ballots. 54% was voting in person, and out of those 54%, only 27% voted on the election day. So the election day, the concept of a Super Tuesday every first week of November, that used to be the norm for hundreds of years in America, that has pretty much gone down now. It's all come down to a month of elections. Now, when it comes to a month of elections, and especially mail-in ballots, we are talking about tremendous stress on the US Postal Services. And a lot of ballots, they reach sometimes 2 days, 3 days after the voting day, which is a disaster. I mean, which is against the basic rules, if I may say so. And in many of the counties, Clark County and other places, these ballots were either not allowed because of some signature mismatch, and many places because of the local laws. So there are local laws there. The state election boards decide the laws there, whether a signature is required or not, whether an ID is required or not. Kamala Harris just went on to record to say that some people can't produce an ID. They are so poor. I mean, they can't get a photocopy. That's what she's trying to insinuate. So it's a very complicated system. And in close elections, I mean, just to give you perspective of how close it is, in US, largely there are 7 swing states. So largely a handful of people determine who the next president is going to be. And even last time when Trump lost Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, even Georgia and Arizona, he lost by a handful of votes, as in 10,000 votes, 14,000 votes. So basically we are saying 40,000, 50,000 votes, which is enough to just fill a football stadium, is going to determine who the next president is going to be.
Yeah.
So that is how close it is, and that is how disastrous the system is. So, let's be ready for an absolute anticlimax on 5th November, because Trump's voters, they turn up on election day. They are the ones who say that election day means our day of support for Donald Trump. And Kamala's voters, they are largely the mail-in ballot ones. So don't be surprised if the early trends suggest that Donald Trump is winning because first the voting person are counted of the election day, and Trump goes on to declare that he's already won the election. So we are in for every twist and turn on election day. So that's where everyone is on their toes right now.
Yeah. And also, Biden has come out with a very strange statement where he calls the Trump supporters garbage. I mean, if Trump had said the same thing, there would have been mayhem. What do you say of that, Karan?
So last time Hillary made an absolute blunder, and it's called the biggest political gaffe of all time. She called Trump supporters a basket of deplorables. So that became a rallying call. People started saying, I am a deplorable from Texas, I am a deplorable from Minnesota, I am a deplorable from Michigan. And Hillary went on to regret passing that statement. You don't undermine the voters, the same people who you are asking for support, you are campaigning this extensively, you call them names, it doesn't augur well at all. Trump, despite being a motor mouth, has never made this cardinal sin. He's never called voters names despite them voting for him or not voting for him. He may have gone against the system, against certain officials, but he's never undermined the intelligence of the voters. This is where he enjoys a connect with the people. And if you ask me, I see momentum shifting towards Donald Trump. But with mail-in ballots and the system, voter enthusiasm, Meenaji, there's a very big factor of voter enthusiasm in electoral politics. I mean, are you able to get your voters to turn up on the D-Day? That thing has been taken out from the American system with mail-in ballots. So it's in a way unjustified, if you ask me. I mean, voter enthusiasm used to be the main factor. Now it's no longer a factor. When you can vote at your luxury for a month, then it changes the entire thing. So somewhere the system is stacked against Donald Trump, but the momentum is towards him. So very interesting dynamics playing out right now.
Over to you, Jerry.
Yeah, see, currently the establishment is against Donald Trump, right? Because there were several attempts to assassinate him, and you see, because the Arab Americans are behind Donald Trump, at least because they think that he can bring peace between Israel and Iran and Lebanon, and also, so do you see that? I mean, do you see, Trump, if he's going to become the president? He'll bring peace in Israel and Middle East, and do you see that happening?
So, Jaydev, an interesting thing, Trump's daughter, Tiffany, so his elder daughter is Ivanka, younger daughter is Tiffany. She is married in an Arab family. And her father-in-law, as in, is a close friend of Trump, and he's helping him reach out to the Arab world for votes and for, general campaigning efforts. He's taken the lead in that. And one thing that people now realize is that during the Trump years, there were no new wars. Russia didn't invade anyone. Israel and Palestine, the entire issue, we saw the Abrahamic Accords being signed. There was a growing, I won't say a relationship, but at least thawing of the coldness that was there between the Arab world and Israel. And, things were getting better. So when you have that sort of a leadership where peace through strength can be established, it sends a message. And the Arab world has now realized that, somebody can appease us, but that somebody, if he or she is weak, won't get us long-lasting peace. And eventually, peace is what everybody's seeking. I mean, we are on the brink of a world war, the way it's going between Israel, Iran, Hezbollah, everything. Or you look at Russia, Ukraine, which is a never-ending war. I mean, this is crazy what's happening with Russia, Ukraine. It's been so many years now. So you can't be writing checks to Ukraine, and you can't be having zero accountability and let this pot continue to stir. And it's the deep state also, which is somewhere involved, which wants this pot to continue stirring. They don't want peace because of certain lobbies that are at work, and we all know that. So here is an anti-establishment guy who can walk the talk, who can take on the deep state, who can actually ensure that there is peace. So this is a man where people are now started rallying around across religions, across creeds, because they realize peace is what is important eventually. So yes, there is a gravitation towards Trump in that segment also.
Now, a very shocking tweet has come from Matt Wallace, who is the CEO of X. Now, he has said that there is allegedly a sex tape involving Kamala Harris and Montel Williams, which has been which is floating around, and which is what a CEO of a large tech company has just said. Now, he tweets that this could break the internet and seriously damage the Harris campaign with just so many days until the 8 days, it would have been a few days until the elections. Now we have only 5 days. Now,
Mhm.
one thing, Karan, is very strange is that nothing about Kamala seems to be, sort of original, because initially she says that she is the daughter of of a Indian father, Hindu father and a mother, and then she says she was a devout atheist and she married a Jew. Then she claims to be a Baptist Christian and celebrates Kwanzaa. She lied about her Freedom Childhood story, and also whenever she is caught in an interview, those interviews also seem to be rather rigged, where where the anchors seem to be in her favor. So what is happening? Is she not a good speaker, or because most of the time an interview is interspersed with maniacal laughs?
True that. So, first of all, let's get this straight. She was never elected to be the nominee, the Democratic nominee. I mean, it's a great travesty of injustice. And look at the irony. Those who say Trump is a threat to democracy, they just hoist Kamala Harris on top of it. She was the first one to get out of the race back in 2020. She got, I think, 2% of the votes. So, all said and done, however flawed Biden was, he did win the nomination. He did get 14 million votes, that we have to admit. So this is a candidate that has been just hoisted upon. Secondly, I mean, Kamala Harris has, you look at the ABC interview, the ABC News interview, she completely goofed up an answer and they doctored that clip. I mean, can you imagine the media not even putting up any charade of being neutral? They doctor the clip just to show that she is intelligent enough to answer that. Now, Joe Rogan, a famous podcaster there, Trump sat down with him for close to 3 hours. He's been constantly inviting Kamala Harris, and she had also expressed a desire to go there because Kamala Harris is struggling amongst the male voters largely. And it was all set, but now she's backed out from that. And again, she's gone to some friendly media outlets. So the truth is, people are seeing through this now. And the worst is, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they've pretty much taken over the campaign just to protect her, just to ensure that her goof ups and gaffes don't come out in the public. They are the ones who are doing the heavy lifting right now. I mean, never have we seen this where the proxies have taken over the campaign and the main candidate is being protected in such a way. So it's a shame. If you ask me, it's an absolute shame that this is happening in America. This should not even be a close contest. Kamala Harris hasn't achieved much. And even for the Indian community, I mean, I was hearing about the Indian community, we must realize she is the one who was giving lectures to India after removal of Article 370. She's the one who said, oh, we stand with Kashmiris, and Kashmiris, you are not alone. We are watching over. This kind of rhetoric she's resorted to. So she's never been loyal to any particular base. The African Americans, she did not pass the criminal reforms, the criminal justice reforms, they were passed by Trump. To the historically black universities, the funds were given by Donald Trump, not by her. And in the last 4 years, she's done pretty little to actually solve any of the problems of the Hispanics, the black community, nothing much. So, she doesn't have much to show except calling Donald Trump a bigot, a fascist, and democracy under threat. That's typical playbook. She doesn't have much to offer.
Yeah. Over to you, Jada.
Yeah, they also say that what happened between India and Canada, especially the current state of relations, that America is silently behind this, the current American government. What is your take on that?
No, they could be. They could be, Jaydev. I think America has always wanted to clip everybody's wings. Every potential superpower, and India is an absolute potential superpower now, marching on to become the third largest economy. I actually do feel that what happened in Bangladesh, with regards to having strategic control over the St. Martin's Island, what's happening in the Northeast, somewhere America is absolutely behind it. And with India and Canada strained relations, let's understand this. America wanted to actually arm twist India into not buying oil from Russia. India went ahead with it. India has now become one of those nations which drags the seat and sits down at the table. I mean, it no longer can be a pushover. So that is something America is observing. 10 years back, this used to be a matter of curiosity. Okay, let's see where India is going. Now it's no longer curiosity. Now it can be that, hang on, this can be some serious competition down the road. This can be a strategic center there where, the ground under us starts shifting. So yes, America would want India to be somewhere, in knots, whether it's with the eastern side or the western side or with Canada. So I am absolutely convinced that yes, America is behind all of this, and they do want to play this game. But it's fine. I mean, let's be honest, with greater power you'll have lots of people targeting you, and we should be absolutely comfortable facing this kind of hostility, facing these kind of snide attacks, if I may say so. So I
Yeah.
think that's understandable.
Yeah. So, Karan, going back to what you said earlier about
Yeah.
Obama, trying
Hmm.
to protect Kamala. Now, what
Hmm.
is Obama's role? Does he have close connections with the deep state? Could you tell us more? Because strangely, there have been a lot of attacks on India, as in bomb hoax attacks, on our airlines. And it's strange that it's only our airlines that's getting attacks. And
Hmm.
it's also the holiday season, just like Christmas is for
True.
USA. It's Diwali season for us. So, are they trying to frighten, travelers? So, can you tell me about Obama's role? Because he seems to be so aggressive in pushing Kamala Harris.
So the saying in US and in other media circles is that Obama never left office.
Yeah.
He was on a break for 4 years when Donald Trump took over. But even then, the deep state made sure that Donald Trump wasn't able to function. The entire Mueller probe, the Russia hoax, all of this somewhere had Obama's handprints all over it. And even when Biden came to the power, Biden was, as they say, he was a puppet of Obama. And even now, Obama wants another puppet, which is Kamala Harris, to be there, keep the seat for Obama. Obama has been a part of the deep state in the sense that the entire LGBTQ, we are all for LGBTQ rights, but this entire transgender and this male competing in female sports and this madness, this woke madness that has taken over right now,
Yeah.
Obama is considered to be front and center with regards to this. It started with a move of legalizing gay marriages, which is okay. But after that, he opened the Pandora's box and he wanted a lot of new discourses to take shape here. So there are entire lobbies, whether it's the Green New Deal, where climate change is largely used as a facade. Nobody is denying that climate change is real. But to use that to actually pulverize people and force them to use the vehicle of their choice or have a home in a certain sense or have certain regulations, this is the deep state lobby at work. Even during COVID, it was big pharma at work which came up with those vaccine mandates. So Obama and this entire deep state, these lobbies at work, they want to control the world. And it's simple, whether it's George Soros, whether it's so many organizations, it's not just George Soros. So yes, and with regards to India, we remember how Obama came to India back in 2015 and pontificated to us about the church attacks, which was an absolute hoax. There were no church attacks. There was one-off attack, and that also he gave a religious color to it. Then he also lectured India on democracy and minority rights. I mean, somebody who bombed the hell out of Libya, somebody who killed the head of another state on the streets, resorting to mob violence, is lecturing India on minority rights. So Obama is a very big hypocrite in that sense, and he continues to be relevant in the American political setup. Just today he has 4 rallies. I mean, can you imagine? This is almost like he is on the ballot. So this speaks volumes about how much this means to the entire lobby, which is why, as Jaydev rightly said, why we had the assassination attempts on Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is someone who cannot be, you can't bully that man. He may be a motor mouth, he may be anything, but you can't control him, that is for sure. So that is what the lobby fears, that is what the Clinton Foundation fears, that is what
Ah,
Bill Gates and the Melinda Gates Foundation fears, those who advocated for vaccine mandates, those who are still controlling the world in the name of climate change, clean water, clean air. So these are the I would say the masks that they all have, and in the garb of this, they funnel trillions of dollars, not even billions now, trillions of dollars if you look at the entire totality, the speeches they make, the money that they get. So there is a quid pro quo which they've normalized. And Trump is the antithesis, antidote of this quid pro quo. So yes, there is a lot at stake for this entire train gravy, I would say, gravy train, I would say, of Obama, Clinton, and everyone.
Yeah, yeah, Jyoti.
Yeah, see, so, like Modi went to the BRICS meeting recently, and he was seen with the Chinese president. And it looks
Right.
like they might have a new currency, a BRICS currency, as to the dollar. So how do you see that happening?
So I think Donald Trump, if he becomes president, he's going to come very hard at this. He is very, very clear that the dollar has to be the world's reserve currency, and this is one of his convictions. So, as far as this one aspect, Jaydev, is concerned, I think we've had it easy under Biden, and we may have it easy under Kamala Harris. But Donald Trump is very, very clear about this, that the de-dollarization is not going to work, even if I have to go for a war against this. So this is something where we might not, have a good time with Donald Trump coming. But I think that day where dollar had this hegemony, that day is done and dusted. We actually need a BRICS currency. We actually need to trade in our local currencies. And the sanctions by US on Russia has paved the way for it. I mean, they have only themselves to blame. You have a war between Russia and Ukraine, you impose a sanction of this level where you force the half of the world to not trade in dollar with them, you impose a ban on SWIFT systems and other things. What do you expect? You expect that world to starve? They'll find a way out. And they have found a way out. So America has themselves to blame for it. I think some pragmatism is going to come when Donald Trump comes over. But, trading in our currencies, that's going to take a hit if Donald Trump comes.
So, speaking about Bangladesh, Karan, so do you think that America has a huge hand in what happened in Bangladesh and the kind of anger they have against Hindus? It's just like they don't want even a one Hindu in Bangladesh. Could you speak about a Nobel Prize, Peace Prize winner, being there and so much of violence in Bangladesh?
So I was on a channel where they were talking about Muhammad Yunus, and they said, Muhammad Yunus is trying to take on these bigots, trying to take on these radical fanatics. I said, he is the radical fanatic. No, he is the problem. He is the bigot. And the kind of, long arm he's enjoyed by the Clinton Foundation. He's been on the board of many of these, very close to the Clintons, very close to Joe Biden. So I think the design is very, very clear with America. They tried to arm twist Sheikh Hasina. They wanted Sheikh Hasina to toe the line. Once she said she can't, America was very clear about it. The same model that they've tried to, replicate across the Middle East and so many nations. They staged many protests, funded them. They pretty much tried to do something similar in design in India also with regards to the farm protests. If we trace back the roots of the farm protests and Rihanna tweeting and so many things happening, yes, absolutely. America wants to keep these fires burning across nations. That is what helps them. That is what helps them give arms. That is what helps them control. And they always have these academicians, these so-called intellectuals in there. So Mohammad Yunus today is apparently the de facto head there. And he is someone, what we're seeing in this Diwali, Minaji. I was reading so many reports there. People are not allowed to, light up lamps. Temples have been desecrated. Women have been, violated. There's so many escaping Bangladesh, and so many, actually swimming for days together to get to the other side. So it's a catastrophe. And I think, if you ask me, our government should have done more for them. I think we should have done more. We should have taken a strong stance here. I mean, all said and done, you cannot be persecuting the Hindus like this, and we cannot be sitting silent about it, or merely passing statements. If there was a time for us to get in, send a message, it was this time. And it would have also helped us resolve this entire chicken neck issue. If we can actually send out a message there, and if there is a continued persecution of Hindus, just as we took action in 1971, we should have sent out a far more stronger message. That's what I feel.
Well said. And also, since you touched upon this topic, can you just speak about what the hell is happening in Karnataka with the board taking over almost all the land in Karnataka and acting as though nothing is wrong?
So just to give you perspective, Meenaji, about this unbelievable law, Waqf law. So back in 2009, Waqf had 3 lakh properties. Anybody who says it's not land grabbing, I'm just giving them numbers. 2009, they had 3 lakh properties, 4 lakh acres. Today, that number is ballooned, miraculously ballooned by Allah's will, I think. 3 lakh properties has gone up to 8.5 lakh properties. 4 lakh acres has gone to 9.7 lakh acres, which is as much as the size of Pakistan.
Oh,
That's the kind of land Waqf sits on today. 77% of Delhi is Waqf land. Our parliament, Central Vista, Mukesh Ambani's house, Antila, they've even claimed Somnath Mandir, they've even claimed Ram Janmabhoomi, Krishna Janmabhoomi, everything is Waqf. They've claimed a village in Tamil Nadu which is 1500 years old. I mean, Islam is 1400 years old, but they've claimed a village which is 1500 years old. So now this government in Modi 3.0, they've brought about a Waqf amendment bill, which is with the JPC right now. And the surprising thing, which many people are not aware of, is even amongst Muslims, this entire property bank is held by 25-30 families which belong to the Ashraf class. So in Muslims, you have the Ashrafs, you have the Pasmandas. Ashrafs happen to be just 15%, and they grossly discriminate against the Pasmandas, and they control almost all this land. So even the Muslims, I mean, K. Rahman Khan, who was heading the JPC of this in 2006, said that this is gross injustice to Muslims. I mean, it's coming from K. Rahman Khan. This requires greater transparency and accountability. So in Karnataka, this has sent shockwaves because this is now being discussed threadbare, and we expect some amendments to be implemented very soon. So just like a government that is all set to go out of power and they sanction many projects so that, they can make the most of the time that they have, limited time that they have. Similarly, in Karnataka and in Telangana, wherever we have the Congress government, they are on an absolute spree sending out notices claiming land to be Waqf land, because right now they have unfettered power. If they claim certain land, if they claim that 200 years back, some ruler of ours on a donkey went there to sip some water, they can claim that as this is Waqf land. Then the onus is on you to prove whether it was Waqf land or not.
yes.
So
Absolutely.
they are trying to send out notices in a maniacal way still the next month, because that's when we expect certain amendments to come. That's what's happening.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Karan, for this wonderful conversation. And your candid way of speaking is absolutely delightful. Thank you from Jaidev and me. Good night, Jai Hind, and Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.